That was also the Christmas that my two youngest siblings didn't get any gifts.
Devil in the Family, The Downfall of Ruby Franke, Part 6. Chad was kind of talking about that they had this great Christmas together, and by all accounts, everyone seemed like they were having a good time. However, this was the Christmas where they had decided that the children were showing a long pattern of selfishness and decided that everyone else would get things and they wouldn't. Now, last time I made a video about this, I got these arguments like, oh, well, but not everyone celebrates Christmas. Yeah, that's true, and absolutely, but that's not what happened here. See, there's nothing wrong if you have a family where that's not a thing. That's not a thing. Okay, cool. That's totally cool. Not everyone celebrates that. However, in this situation, the context is super important, especially considering their religious beliefs and backgrounds. Not getting presents has higher implications than Santa was mad at you.
Two youngest are showing long patterns of selfishness. I was really hoping that keeping them home from school and wiping the floorboards would really bring pain. And it wasn't painful for them because they're so numb. And we told them that this year they are not going to be visited by Santa.
I can tell you from personal experience that being that numb at that age does not imply selfishness. It implies that there have been a lot of really bad things going on for a very long time that need to be looked into. Now, the present thing, this was the same, one of these kids ended up not having lunches at school because they forgot their lunch and she refused to bring them lunch, that sort of stuff. Plus, this wasn't just for the family. Another neighbor kid had gotten a little girl a present. She had dropped it off, and when they saw each other later, asked, oh my God, did you like your present? And she was told by the child, my mom made me throw it away. The whole family comes for Christmas, including Sherry, who was away at college, but if you remember from the last part, had had her bedroom given away to Jody. And she needs some stuff out of her room, so she goes to check it out and is a little surprised by what she finds.
There was one time that I did go into my room to get something, and there were candles on the desk and massage oils, and it felt really dark. So at that moment, I kind of figured something was going on.
That's been a huge question. Were they lovers? And I think you can pretty undeniably say absolutely yes, they were, because obviously Sherry saw a bunch of stuff. And there's a portion in Sherry's book where she actually went in and got old journals, which her dad tried to press charges on her for trying to get stuff from her own room after everything happened. That's fun. And the cops kind of laughed at him and were like, no, that's not happening. However, in those journals, Ruby was complaining because she felt like she was being a giver and not a taker, if you know what I mean, because she just felt like she was servicing things. Even Kevin, from his interesting position, felt it was a little too close.
I don't know the extent to which their interactions went. It was much more than a friendship.
Yes.
What was that? You want to get thrown off?
Yes.
I'll probably get thrown off with him. So you guys.
Much more than a sisterhood. It was uncomfortably intimate.
Things continue to escalate, and Jody is isolating more and more and more. And there's one teaching that Jody really believes in, that separation is a necessary tool to make families better. But she's coming from this place of this Mormon background and all this stuff. That's completely against everything. If separations were encouraged, a lot more women would be a lot happier today, let me tell you. It was never really about that. It's about manipulation and getting these people to do what you want. And it's all very Shuri, you know what I mean? Because she just wanted these people to herself. Plus, you look at her actual background, no real friends, kids don't talk to her, husband left. There is so much evidence that this is not anyone you should be listening to.
Separation is a tool. It's necessary for growth and development. And this is really common for couples, so this is a very...
She was divorced at that point, and I don't know exactly what's happened with her children, but I know that the relationships haven't been great. She was pretty isolated in terms of friends and family connections, and she was helping her clients become her in many ways, which, by the way, seems very cultish.
There's a lot of definitions of cultures that really fit with this one, including what happens next when Ruby and Jody, and I'm going to give them both credit for that, decide that Chad's got to go. So Chad at this point is being a very developmentally normal person at that age. I'm not even gendering it. Person. He is kissing some girls, watching some videos on the internet that his parents don't really want him to be watching, But they're just looking for an excuse. So anything is going to be the end of the world and you have to get away from here. It's evil.
And I have never seen my mom more distraught. And I have never seen her more red in the face But it wasn't anger, it was a sadness. She was bawling. She couldn't breathe. And as she was crying, she kind of got surprised because it clicked. Oh my gosh, everything that happened to Jody, all the possession, all the attacks, all the satanic attacks that were happening to Jody, it was all because of you and what you were doing behind our back. She wiped away the tears, and then she was back to serious. And she said, Chad, it's time you leave the home.
The way it went about, I'm sorry, it just screams manipulation. Jody actually told him to confess that to the mom, and the mom has this big reaction, but then is immediately, okay, get out of the house. You did this with Jody's possessions, which we talked about in the part before this. It all just reeks of plan, and I'm so glad, though, with this kid, that it seems like he's kind of unpacking what he needs to, because he understands now it wasn't his fault, but at the time thought it very well could have been.
How old were you?
I was 17 at this time.
Did it make any sense to you at the time, moving out?
Yeah, I really thought I was messing with the house, messing with the spirit in the house. But I think that was my mom and Jody's perfect chance to find something wrong with me and my dad at the same time and kick us out together.
And that's exactly what happened. Kevin leaves the family home in spite of his children crying and begging him not to leave him there. And while they're having that whole scene and the kids are crying, Ruby is gladly filming it while she laughs. He also gets a hold of Sherry and says, basically, we're no contact now.
And a call from Kevin. Your mother has invited me to leave the house, and I'm going to ask that you don't talk to me or to Chad. At that point, I was like, this is absolutely crazy. And I think I responded and said, I'm confused, and I wish you the best, but I was worried about the kids now that are at home.
I do really recommend reading Sherry's book because there's so much in there that I simply do not have the time to go into in this series. However, she was no longer allowed to contact her family, and this is a very young girl. We're talking 1920. Then they're going to cut off her car insurance. They're going to cut off her health insurance because she contacted her dad again. She had at one point just sent him a text saying, I'm worried, I miss you, I love you. And he hearted it and then unhearted it an hour later, and then by her next text had actually blocked her. Now I could say, imagine the feeling of being very young, or even when you're an adult and something really bad is going on and you reach out to your parents thinking that these are the people that are going to help you. These are the people that were installed to take care of you. They're going to help me, and you either get blocked, called a liar, or ignored. See, I don't have to imagine that because I know exactly what it's like, and it is one of the most soul-crushing, heart-shattering feelings that sticks with you for a long time. The couple of times that Sherry did have interaction with Ruby after that, Ruby was cold as ice and was just not, she said, that's not my mom anymore. I don't know who that is, but that is not my mom. In the next parts, we are going to go into the end of this, and it's probably going to be 1 or 2 parts, and it's going to be really hardcore because it's when everything came out. I understand that this case affects people a lot. It affects me a lot. I have a lot of common background to the things that happen to these kids. So if it's something you can't handle, please always feel free to scroll, but I will see you there, and I hope you have a good day.